But don't worry, you don't have to be of drinking age to drink this coffee because there is no alcohol in this, but it's just the yeast that they use in the similar preparations of those alcohols. Hi, I'm Mabel.
And I'm Ming.
And we are Moonwake Coffee Roasters. We are a very small roastery right now based out of San Jose, California. And we started roasting in 2022. And our primary mission is to roast and serve exceptional coffees and bring exceptional coffee experiences. You can currently find us at the Cupertino Farmers Market, and we're working on building out our cafe roastery in 2024. All right, yeah, we are excited to share this coffee with you today. This is one of the coffees from our lineup. This is what's called the Nuruk Gesha, and it's from the producer Wilton Benitez of Granja Paraíso 92 from Colombia. And what's really great about this coffee, it's actually been anaerobically fermented with a Nuruk culture. Nuruk, if you're familiar with koji, it's a very similar type of yeast culture, but Nuruk is commonly used in Korea for various rice-based alcohols such as soju or makgeolli. But don't worry, you don't have to be of drinking age to drink this coffee because there is no alcohol in this, but it's just the yeast that they use in the similar preparations of those alcohols.
Yeah, so we chose this coffee actually as part of the Walla auction. So these coffee curators in Colombia highlighted some of the best Gesha coffees in this last harvest from Colombia, and we were kind of blown away when we tried this one. The candy strawberry flavors and the very clean grape flavors are, really present right when you brew, but then it has this really interesting like milky yogurty quality, I think, from the Nuruk aspect of it. And yeah, so we specifically chose this coffee for the X-Bloom community. We think it's going to be a great showcase of what this machine is capable of in terms of brewing a truly unique experience. All right, so now we're going to brew. So right away you can tell there's just strawberry, candy filling the room. There's some nice grape aspects to it as well. We went with a 5-pour. We spent quite a bit of time trying to optimize the experience and the extraction for you guys here. So we're starting with a fairly medium grind size. We're trying to maximize the extraction early on, trying to get a lot of those strawberry flavors. And you can already tell it's, permeating and quite present, very easy to detect. We'll slowly begin to decrease the temperature throughout these pours. We found that early on is a lot of the nice sweetness and acidity that we like, and a lot of the candy aspects. Yeah, so our roasting style here is usually for balance. And so balance for us means a couple of different things. For a coffee like this, where processing and the exceptional work done in that processing is so forefront, we really want to highlight that and make sure the components that brings are balanced. So it's going to be an extremely light roast. It's going to be done in a very fast time. So we're trying to keep the roast time as short as possible. We're doing minimal development, and we're keeping a lot of those nice aromatic compounds that give you that candied feeling, and trying to highlight that as much as possible.
Another really unique aspect about this coffee is that we actually were able to work directly with Wilton's team to get this coffee shipped to us directly. So with the power of some Google Translate and some additional tools, we were able to get this coffee shipped all the way from Colombia here to California. So that was really exciting to get to meet kind of all the different components or different players in the coffee production life cycle, and realizing that, there are people on the other side of the world, maybe not so far from Colombia, but just, in terms of coffee, every person in the entire life cycle is so important to the final product that we can enjoy together.
Yeah, and as we try to finish our final pour here, we're going with a lower temperature just to decrease some of that bitterness and focus on that sweetness. And yeah, that smell is just still all over the room.
Yeah, so after we brew our coffee, we typically like to enjoy the aroma of it freshly brewed, but we actually wait a little bit before enjoying it. We find that when the temperature of the coffee cools down slightly, something where you can still touch it, there's a neat trick where if it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to drink. So you can kind of use that as a paradigm to identify what's a great drinking temperature. But when it's fresh brewed, a lot of the aromas kind of come out in the steam. And the florals are, I think, one of the best aspects of the coffee that you can perceive immediately when it's brewed. So
yeah, a lot of red and purple fruits, and you can already get a hint of that Nuruk and that milky aspect. But I think one of the things we loved about this one was how clean it was, despite the amount of processing done to it. Definitely, like, the thermal shock, I think, played a good role in that process, and yeah, no over fermentation.
yeah, and this producer is known for a lot of very interesting experimental processing. As a lot of roasters kind of consider it as funky. For us, we typically prefer cleaner cut profiles, agnostic of the process. So as long as the processing has been done in a very controlled and a very, how do I put it? Yeah, just a very controlled manner, we are usually pretty happy with trying different coffees from different processing.
Wow. Still just as exciting drinking it now as the first time we cupped it. Yeah, definitely get a perfect balance of that strawberry candy and that some of that haichu-like candy aspect to it. And just this really long-lasting, milky body and finish that, yeah, it's just like a Yakult or Macaulay, if you've ever had that before.
I think for me, the most unique aspect about this is the essence of the coffee. So for me, essence is as you drink the coffee, those additional lingering aromas that kind of dance around in kind of like your nose and as you breathe out. That's where I get a lot of that Macaulay experience from this coffee. So it's a really fun coffee kind of from when you brew and also from when you finish drinking it. It likes to give you a little bit more after you finish drinking it too.
Yeah, so this is the perfect time to drink 2 weeks after roast. So it was perfectly rested. I think, you know, between 2-3 weeks is when we typically recommend that you start brewing this to get the best experience possible.
One thing that really drew us to partnering with X-Bloom and also specifically with this coffee was trying to, I think for us, one of our mission statements is to make coffee enjoyable for everyone, right? And to bring exceptional coffee experiences. And the X-Bloom does a really great job of making that process very seamless and very, almost you don't have to think about it, right? So we wanted to remove the barriers as much as possible for people to enjoy really great coffee and enjoy kind of what the vast, you know, breadth of flavors there are. So working with X-Bloom has been really cool to see that, hey, you know, you can take the guesswork out of extracting a coffee, and it's also very helpful that this coffee has a lot to give, and the X-Bloom kind of ties that all together. So, you know, it's reducing that barrier for, you know, folks at home to enjoy a really interesting and new coffee.
Yeah, it's allowed us to definitely do the hard work for you here. We spent quite a lot of time with recipe development, which has been a blast on the X-Bloom. And, you know, with all the expensive equipment that we have at home to brew coffees perfectly, we had an opportunity to try to match that as best as possible with this to give you that exact experience every single time. And yeah, we're super excited for you guys to try this. This is definitely one of our favorites of the year.
Great. So we are very happy that we get to share our Nuruk Gesha coffee with you. It's actually part of our Nova Series line of coffees, which is our flagship lineup of coffees. If you want to check out this coffee in addition to some other coffees that we offer, feel free to check us out at moonwakecoffeeroasters.com, or you can follow us on Instagram at Moonwake Coffee Roasters. We have a lot of really cool projects planned for 2024, so hopefully we can share that with you and y'all can follow us along on the journey.